is CNN.
I know that many people around America must believe that Washington is overwhelmingly preoccupied with the Whitewater matter. But our administration is preoccupied with the business we were sent here to do for the American people.
Live from Washington, Crossfire. On the left, Mike Kinsley. On the right, Pat Buchanan. Tonight, the president speaks out. In the Crossfire, Republican Senator Phil Gramm of Texas and Democratic Senator John Breaux of Louisiana.
Good evening. Welcome to Crossfire. Within the hour, President Clinton faced the White House press corps in a televised news conference. He brought up health care, the crime bill, other topics. But topic A inevitably was Whitewater. Clinton said he would release the tax returns from the late 1970s and a new analysis of the Whitewater deal to support his claim that the investment lost money for the Clintons. The president's main Republican tormentor on Whitewater, Representative Jim Leach, though, took the House floor today to assert that the Clintons did indeed make money from Whitewater. He charged Clinton and congressional Democrats of a collusive cover-up on the Whitewater affair. Meanwhile, Clinton aides continued to troop in front of the special prosecutor's grand jury. Today it was the turn of Bruce Lindsay and George Stephanopoulos. Pat?
Senator John Breaux, today, according to the polls, 67% of the American people think that the Clintons did something wrong in Whitewater, and 52% believe they're covering it up. Why do you think, whose fault do you think this is? Is it the White House for its poor handling? Is it the Republicans? Is it the press? Who's responsible if there's a misapprehension?
Pat, I don't think it's any way possible that the public would not be lowering the numbers in the poll because of this constant drip of Whitewater coverage up here. I don't find that surprising at all. I think that the president tonight clearly said that he's willing to answer questions of Robert Fisk, that he's going to make public his tax returns from 1977. Most Americans don't even have their tax returns back to 1977. I know I don't. I think that this statement tonight is going to put it behind him. I think it was a clear-cut statement. I'll tell anybody anything they want to know about Whitewater.
Right. Senator Breaux, there's no doubt, I think the president, everyone agrees the president was very persuasive and articulate tonight and seemed to be very forthcoming. But you look at the facts. Vince Foster, his deputy counsel, is a suicide. Webb Hubbell, close friend, top man of justice, resigns under a cloud. William Kennedy, caught in Nannygate, demoted yesterday. Bernie Nussbaum, leading lawyer in the White House, discharged under a cloud. Is this all Al D'Amato's fault?
Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with Al D'Amato. If Al D'Amato had anything to do with it, he'd probably be trying to make it worse than that. I mean, clearly what we have here is something that needs to be looked into, and that's why the Republicans asked for a special counsel. That's why we have a special counsel. I suggest let him do his job.
Right.
Answer those tough questions, and then let Congress have hearings after that.
All right, you are now, I mean, are you, Senator Breaux, you will vote in favor, and Democrats will, of separate independent hearings looking into this whole matter in both the Senate, and you think they'll happen in both the Senate and the House? I
think they will happen, Pat. I've said before, as long as they do not interfere with the special counsel's criminal investigation, we should have hearings.
Go ahead, Michael.
Senator Phil Gramm, Jim Leach said today, point blank, that the president and Mrs. Clinton made money on the Whitewater deal. President Clinton says, point blank, he lost money on it. That's a pretty straightforward factual dispute. Now, what evidence is there, because I haven't seen any, that the president and Mrs. Clinton made money on this Whitewater deal?
Well, Michael, I don't know. I haven't seen the facts. I think what you do in these kind of circumstances, instead of argue about it, you put the facts out on the table, you let people make a judgment. And I guess my advice to the president is this. Nothing is going to remain hidden in Washington, D.C. Ultimately, all these facts are going to come out. If there's dirty linen there, it's going to look dirtier a month from now or a year from now than it does now. And so I think the way to solve this thing, you've got people saying different things, people who supposedly know the facts making different claims. What you do under those circumstances is you basically go back and look at the facts.
Okay,
I think that's
Jim
what we
Leach
need.
didn't say today, let's go back and look at the facts and straighten this out. He said, I have the facts, I have reached a conclusion, the Clintons made money on this deal, they are wrong when they say they lost money on it. If that turns out to be wrong, will you Republicans apologize to President and Mrs. Clinton?
Well, I certainly would think Jim Leach would apologize, but I would have to say that he is a person who's worked very hard on this. He spent a tremendous amount of time. Nobody has ever accused him of being a rabid partisan. He is a very highly respected...
He's not Phil Gramm, so he can be trusted.
He is a highly respected...
Is that your point?
Well, I think that many people have accused me of being partisan, some valid, some invalid. But the point is, this is a member who is not a partisan, who is highly respected on both sides of the aisle. And the point is this, look, the way the president can answer all these questions is put the facts out on the table.
He's doing that, isn't he?
I don't think he is doing it.
You tell me at this point, sure, they had the disputes about the special prosecutor, they had disputes about the hearings. At this point, what evidence is there, what fact is there, what willingness to talk about it is there that the Clintons haven't now come forward and say, all right?
Well, Michael, first of all, I think that people want to see the files that were in the White House when the suicide occurred. I think people want to see the data. My advice to the president is simply this. The best way to defend yourself is to give the American people the facts. They're fair. Let them make the judgment.
John Breaux, as I said, the president was very persuasive and convincing to anybody that heard him tonight. He answered the questions fully. Why didn't he hold a press conference like this 3 months ago? Why doesn't he take all these documents months ago and say, look, this is all we got of the Whitewater file, the investment. We don't have the rest of it. Here it is. Here's all the tax returns. You fellas go on out and you enjoy yourself with them. Instead, he's got all his aides under subpoena, going before a grand jury, in an appearance of a cover-up of an investigation.
Well, Pat, after tonight, I certainly don't think anybody can use the word cover-up. You know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Had he known that it would have been developing in the way it has developed, he probably would have had that press conference 2-3 weeks ago. But I think they probably didn't, Pat, because they didn't think, and in fact knew nothing wrong had been done. I mean, you don't have to continue to answer charges if you know in your own heart and in your own mind that there's nothing wrong with anything that you've done.
But can you explain the actions of his staff dealing with the RTC people, secret calls, Mr. Altman forgetting whether he's going to recuse himself, who he talked to at the White House?
That's a complete misrepresentation.
Let's look at that.
Forgetting.
I mean, let's look at the facts. Roger Altman, I think, the record will show after these hearings over and after the investigation, had talked to the Ethics Council in the Department of the Treasury, who looked at his request to speak to White House officials and said, under the rules of ethics, there's nothing wrong with it. Go ahead and do it. There's nothing to hide.
Can I make one point on this, Pat? The bottom line is, we don't know what happened. We don't know the facts. And I've never tried to say what the facts are. But Altman has altered his testimony that he gave before the Banking Committee not once, but 4 times.
Exactly.
Now, wait.
Exactly.
He said he failed to mention that he'd bumped into Bernie Nussbaum in the corridors of the White House.
Or that he had had a telephone call the night
McClarty.
before. All I'm saying
I don't think he's altered the facts, Michael, at all. He's added to the
changes were. I simply stated the fact. He has changed his testimony.
But that is the typical way you people are taking a tiny irrelevant deal.
He has added to the
blowing it out of proportion.
Look, I asked him the question, all right? I think it is pretty relevant when a person, number one, does not answer the question they were asked, and secondly, when they come back not once or twice or 3 times, but 4 times and change their testimony.
They're correcting it. He's saying, well,
he's not even altering it.
If you do it right the first time, you don't have to
Senator Breaux, let's go, and this is not the Senate, but it is the House. Jim Leach said today that there was a collusive effort on the part of the Congress and the administration to cover this matter up. And when you see how his chairman, Chairman Gonzalez, treated Mr. Leach, they weren't even going to let the minority ask questions. They're not going to let them get information from the government. Isn't the Congress, or at least portions of it, giving off the impression that they're involved in trying to keep the lid on this whole thing?
Pat, the Congress is not covering up. They're trying to honor the request of a special counsel that Republicans asked to be appointed, who has said and pleaded with the Congress, do not interfere, do not have a political circus of public hearings where Republicans are fighting with Democrats. Let me complete my job. That's not a cover-up. That's just honoring the request of the special counsel.
Okay. What will be the result, the end result of the Whitewater affair? A crippled president or a backlash against the Republicans and the press? That question when we come back.
On any given day, I am always impressed with how believable he is. And then the following day, I start reading the newspapers again. And all I'm suggesting is what you need is a hearing where you get all of the allegations out in the open, you get all the facts out in the open, you have all the witnesses under oath. And then I think, as Bob was saying, at that point, if the president has nothing to hide, by midsummer, it will all be gone.
Because many places in the world come with crowbars as standard equipment, the new Volkswagen Jetta comes with an anti-theft alarm system as standard equipment too.
When it comes to your financial future, Fortis can help protect you and those you love. Fortis, a worldwide financial services company $46 billion strong. A powerful choice for mutual funds, life and health insurance, employee benefits. A name you can trust around the world and right in your own backyard. Fortis, solid answers for a changing world.
My company has put in computers, networks, all the best software. And you know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid that we've spent more than we can ever hope to get out of it. We have literally invested millions. And for all that, our productivity is only up 2%. We keep upgrading our computers. Could the answer be as simple as upgrading our people?
When we asked some denture wearers why they don't use an adhesive, they didn't have a lot to say.
Don't need it.
My dentures fit fine. No problems here.
But after we gave them Fix-A-Dent, they just couldn't say enough.
It's amazing, the difference. It's a great new feeling of security.
Comfort.
Confidence.
I just plain forget I have them.
That's because Fix-A-Dent adjusts to the unique contours of your dentures and gums, forming a thin, powerful seal for a better hold than you ever thought possible.
I could just kick myself for not doing this sooner.
Find out for yourself what it feels like to Fix-A-Dent and forget it.
Oh, so it's my fault.
I didn't say that.
Well, then what do you say?
You don't listen.
You never change.
The new Volkswagen Jetta has an adaptive automatic transmission. It senses the way you drive and adjusts to fit your personality.
Maybe you are.
Maybe I'm not.
It's a shame we only make cars.
After Crossfire on Larry King Live at the top of the hour, two presidential press secretaries, Jody Powell and Marlon Fitzwater, assess Bill Clinton's performance tonight, along with veteran CNN correspondent Charles Bierbauer. We'll also meet Marky Post and John Ritter of Hearts of Fire. Stay tuned for Larry King Live.
Mr. Brawley?
Yes.
Do you ever think about your HP LaserJet printer?
Not anymore. Before I bought
water. Clinton said he would release the tax returns from the late 1970s in a new analysis of the Whitewater deal to support his claim that the investment lost money for the Clintons. The president's main Republican tormentor on Whitewater, Representative Jim Leach, though, took the House floor today to assert that the Clintons did indeed make money from Whitewater. He charged Clinton and congressional Democrats of a collusive cover-up on the Whitewater affair. Meanwhile, Clinton aides continued to troop in front of the special prosecutor's grand jury. Today it was the turn of Bruce Lindsay and George Stephanopoulos. Pat?
Senator John Breaux, today, according to the polls, 67% of the American people think that the Clintons did something wrong in Whitewater, and 52% believe they're covering it up. Why do you think, whose fault do you think this is? Is it the White House for its poor handling? Is it the Republicans? Is it the press? Who's responsible if there's a misapprehension?
Mike Kinsley. On the right, Pat Buchanan. Tonight, the president speaks out. In the Crossfire, Republican Senator Phil Gramm of Texas and Democratic Senator John Breaux of Louisiana.
Good evening. Welcome to Crossfire. Within the hour, President Clinton faced the White House press corps in a televised news conference. He brought up health care, the crime bill, other topics. But topic A inevitably was Whitewater.
This is CNN.
I know that many people around America must believe that Washington is overwhelmingly preoccupied with the Whitewater matter. But our administration is preoccupied with the business we were sent here to do for the American people.
Live from Washington, Crossfire. On the left.
Pat, I don't think it's any way possible that the public would not be lowering the numbers in the poll because of this constant drip of Whitewater coverage up here. I don't find that surprising at all. I think that the president tonight clearly said that he's willing to answer questions of Robert Fisk, that he's going to make public his tax returns from 1977. Most Americans don't even have their tax returns back to 1977. I know I don't. I think that this statement tonight is going to put